Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another weekly forecast slash breakdown. And before we get started, I'm going to quickly recap what happened last week and see if we were correct in our sort of analysis, our forecast. And then I'm going to be talking about what I'm expecting for next week. So it's going to be a pretty short one from our breakdown, just because it was a lot of manipulation when price was sort of climbing up here, and there's a lot of times where I was just anticipating that because price, our main objective as price was climbing up was to take out these highs here, and then you can see here from Wednesday overnight after the bank holiday day, you can see we had consolidation. Price ended up just dancing around here, and then overnight price ended up taking out these prior highs. Now with that, price then came back down to retest this area, and then on Thursday you ended up getting a bigger push up to continue its move to fill this gap that we have on the left here. Now once price filled that gap, because price kept climbing up on Thursday, and then Friday we also even, were building that liquidity and continued up. This gave the bearish move a more probability to occur. Now, all we had to wait for was a structure break and a retest, and then we would have been able to continue this move down. What ended up happening is, you could see here, we have your equal highs that we were created here, and then just before US session price broke through that and came back down, so we took this opportunity to look for potential sell positions at early price. But however, price wanted to just tap that prior high one more time, which it did. Once it did that, I was then looking to get in again, and this is a position I ended up sending on the free channel as well. If you're not in the free channel, the link is in the description. Please join that, because I do send a free sort of setups and analysis quite often. Anyway, back to it. You can see that once price broke the 1 hour swing point low, which was right back here, so here was a swing low that was created. Price then pushed up, collected liquidity from the external range, and because there was no more liquidity to be collected, well, there is more on the left here. As you can see, we have a bit more of this gap all the way up towards here, towards 70 and above, but it didn't need to collect that because it was done. Price then pushed down with this big displacement candle, broke below this swing point low here, and this started the bearish move. Now going down to the 15 minutes, what ended up happening is, you can see here, you ended up getting a break with this candle. This next candle was the retracement for an entry, and then you ended up getting a complete collapse. But what I was looking for was, there's potentially two gaps here, which I was looking for a retracement into. You have this gap, which is where our position was. I was looking for a little higher, more than basically a retracement into that premium level. However, price only needed to come up towards this area here, retrace into this area. Obviously on the 1 minute time frame, you'll be able to see that there was more imbalance that it filled on the way down. You can see here, this is also a breaker block. As you can see, that price took out the low here, swing point low, and then pushed out to the high here, and then continued lower, and price came back to retrace that exact same area right there. You could potentially say that is an order block as well, to be honest. Is it an order block? We have a swing point low, which is broken here. Breaker would work. Breaker would work on that scenario. You can see that once price filled this and then broke another swing point low, this could have been an entry to just manually sell here with your stop loss above these highs here, because you know that once price has made its move here, it's now broken a structure low again. It's showing you that price is giving you consecutive candles on the way down. Now this is a very, very bearish move that we have here, but again, looking at this in hindsight, I couldn't see a potential entry that followed our strategy to get in, hence why we were left out of the move. On some occasions, you do get these sort of moves where price just ends up collapsing and then leaves you behind. But again, RIP in the chat if you know that you know I did end up sending that on the free channel. our limit was up here and prices ended up falling. But it's okay because prices now shifted into a potential bearish move here. However, it doesn't mean that price is completely bearish yet. If I go back up to the 4-hour time frame and then we have a look at what we're looking to expect next week. So I think this forecast will be a little shorter, sort of. The video is going to be a little shorter because the breakdown's a little shorter. Now going into the weekly forecast, I'm going to be looking at this 2-hour fair value gap. If you go to the 2-hour time frame, you can see there is an imbalance here, and that is exactly where price wanted to slow down. I'm going to be watching the hour time frame here because the hour time frame is very key when identifying swing highs and swing lows here. A lot of the time from last week, I was monitoring the 15-minute, and sometimes this gave me sort of skewed results on when swing highs and swing lows were broken. You can see here this swing low was broken by this. Does that mean that price is now bearish? That is a question. But when you look at it from the hour perspective and look at that same area again, price may have broke this low here, but it also tapped into a fair value gap. So liquidity was collected back into internal range liquidity. Price then pushed back up and failed to break a continuation again. It held at that level. And then once price pushed back out, you can see that we had a big move continuing from this fair value gap here, which was actually the potential range that was created during the US bank holiday on Wednesday. So that is quite significant when looking at the market. So going into this week, I'm going to be monitoring what happens and how we can sort of identify which way the market's going to go. At the start of the week, I would like to see what happens at this area. If price wants to break below this swing point low here, this is going to make price look very bearish. This is going to break this sort of structure that we have, because you can see that price is sitting on a trend line at the moment, right? We are currently in consolidation. If I zoom out here and have a look from this side, you can see that price action is also, it's basically tightening up. You can see we are in a wedge at the moment. I don't trade wedges often, but it's just good to analyze, saying that price is bouncing between these areas here. So you want to see which way either price wants to go. Either it wants to go down or it wants to break up here. So it's very key on what's going on in the market here. And it's quite key to sort of look for both positions. So now with price being down here into this 2-hour fair value gap, what I'm going to be looking for is, I would like to see if this swing low is broken. If this swing low gets broken here and price wants to push down, then what we want to see is you want to see a potential retracement here, and then you're likely to see price continue to attack this prior low, this external range liquidity here. Because remember, if we look at price on the daily time frame, I'm going to zoom back in. Obviously this amazing drawing has now been skewed. This one. You can see that price is currently moving in a downtrend fashion. Right now, it's on its way to potentially create a lower low, which would have been right here if price wants to get there. We have a big bearish engulfing candle. Would like to see what happens at this time frame here, at this swinging point low where price currently is sitting. So at the start of the week, what we'd like to see is to see what happens at this area. If price wants to completely disregard this fair value gap and completely push back below this down to 23.06, this gives us more bearish insight that the price will likely as not respected this certain order block here, and price is broken at swing point low. It's break of structure. You now want to see price retrace and then continue its push down. Because you have consecutive bearish candles here, this is a good area to potentially look for shorts. It's higher probability if price wants to push back up here. The same thing happened on the left. It was higher probability because you end up getting consecutive shorts. This is now because obviously become an inverted fair value gap. You now look at it across, you can see that price tapped into there and started falling. So the same thing applies over here. You don't want to see price retrace back up to then look for sells. Right now, you wouldn't want to sell, obviously being this low. You now want to wait for potential buy positions, and the only place you'd want to look for buy positions is either within this fair value gap if it respects it and you get something like this, or a clear of external liquidity. So you want to see if price wants to tap below this, clear at this low, and then make a structure break like this, like a big impulsive move up. This will then give you a potential entry to continue price back up here. So that's my little forecast. I will be providing sort of more updates midweek. It's just because we have a big drop here. We are potentially looking for a potential retracement, and then I'm going to look for a continuation back down. Looking at the fundamentals, nothing too crazy. Obviously Tuesday we have CB consumer confidence. We have final GDP on Thursday and Friday. So the main sort of volume is going to be towards the end of the week here. So going at the start of the week, you want to see what happens with price action. You want to wait to see what price does after this big drop that we had on Friday. Looking at the week before, you can see that with Friday, because it was NFP, we had a bigger drop, and price ended up completing its drop on Friday here, and then on Sunday, price failed to break another low. So you can see that price potentially could just keep climbing up from Monday, from next week. Price can just keep sort of giving that sort of initial retracement. So that's the impulse leg at the moment. So what we want to do is we want to stay away from this sort of price action, and we want to wait, because this sort of price action right now is the manipulation. Here's your displacement legs. This here is your manipulation where price came up, and then you had another displacement, and now here would be a potential manipulation on the way up. You want to wait until price gets to a certain area and then continue the displacement leg, and potentially you could see this sort of break with these displacement legs, and price could continue its fall towards the main objective, which would be 22.86. So that's pretty much it for my weekly forecast. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like. This is a little bit of a shorter one. I'm going to leave it there. It's been XAUUSD. Peace out.